It definitely takes time to rewire the thought patterns, because if that's the way it's been for so long and you catch it, great. Awareness is a key first step, but then be kind to yourself as you start to relearn a new way to engage with people, because those old thought patterns, it's like a well-worn groove in your mind, and that's going to take some time. You're going to catch yourself slipping right back into it without noticing. But when you do notice, kind to yourself, change the thought, change how you respond. It will eventually change, but it's always a process.
Please just hold your breath. Every door looks better when you keep it closed. Keep your head down and don't watch your step. No point in even trying now, just let it go. Maybe they will write the same for me. Maybe this was really just a dream. Don't wanna take that risk and try to see a 9 to 5 will bring security, I'm sure, but I can guarantee you there's no way to live, way to live. Promise there's no way to live, way to live.
Hey everyone. So glad you're back to join us for another episode of Prodigal Peas in a Pod. I'm Brooke Ackerman.
And I'm Denise Acosta.
And not that we aren't honest with you in other episodes, but to just put it all out there today. This topic today, it's a deep one for both of us. So buckle up. We don't know how this is going to go, so we can't give you any indication either.
One of my podcast goals for 2026 was to bleed all over you guys. So I hope that...
Great. What a lovely image.
I hope that all of my emotions help you in some way.
So just in case you're curious, now with that intro, we are talking about this feeling of that you're supposed to be able to just know or to be able to predict things. If you prepare enough, then bad things won't happen, which is not true and unkind to yourself.
It's unkind.
It is. It's setting a ridiculous, unrealistic expectation that we'll never be able to meet, and yet somehow we do it to ourselves anyway.
Yeah, we still keep doing it.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that was my lifestyle. That was just my way of doing life for so long. And then to have considered a different way was shocking, to say the least. And then it takes a while to break the pattern.
Yes.
And then you make progress in one, and then you're still peeling back the same onion, you find out.
Yes. How big is this onion?
Yeah, I'm real tired of these onions. Sometimes I just want to move on to the next one already. It's like the never-ending onion.
Imagine, though, how massive of a bloomin' onion it would make.
That would be a delicious one.
Right?
Yeah. If only we could actually fry our spiritual onions. At least you get some payoff. Right? As soon as you get through one, God presents you with a plate that you get to eat of your fried onion.
I think this, I don't know, somehow we need to make a t-shirt of this. Deep fried spiritual onions or something. I don't know.
It's something. There's something there.
The wheels are turning. We won't spend the episode, but that's something that I feel like. Oh, by the way, everyone, I have hot chocolate from Denise's mom. And it's delicious. It tastes like Christmas, if that means anything to anybody other than me.
I hope it does. It is the chocolate that I brought back from Cusco. So we are going through all the chocolate.
And it's in a llama. It's in a llama travel mug.
It says no problema. It was from a care package that some friends of mine gave me. And it was the cutest thing. Anything with llamas, I'm going to love. So
obviously, and I apologize for my slurping. Sorry, I don't usually slurp, but this travel mug is causing me to slurp. Deal with it, people. I'm drinking my chocolate. It's delicious.
It's gonna be.
Yeah. Okay, so you should have known is that phrase. I feel like it's one of those things that if I look back through my life, you should have known. And it's not that anybody ever said that directly to me, but it's just been like this running in the background or like an undercurrent in my life. And then I turned it on myself. I should have known. I should have been able to, if I had only done XYZ, then this thing wouldn't have happened, or this conversation would have gone better, or this. It's exhausting. And it's so unrealistic. But man, yeah, I should have known. That onion, we're still peeling it. We're still there.
I was definitely told the phrase you should have known.
Oh.
So as we were planning for this episode and writing down some notes on these pages, I was thinking about some things I'll be sharing in the episode. And then it's, oh, where did this come from? And I was like, oh, I drew an arrow. That one. That's where it started. And I'm like, okay, we're going to figure some things out as we do this. This is going to be great. I love these episodes.
I know. I know we've said before that this was like a coaching session right here in front of everyone. But this one really feels like, we'll just see what happens in this conversation. Because this one's, there's still some, I wouldn't say they're exactly raw places, but they're still a little tender. There's still some places in there where this lands. And I'm like, oh, that still hurts a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like most of the stuff I have already had discussions with God and peeled back, and I don't do as much or maybe even not at all. But then there are some areas like being blindsided. That's one thing that, oh man, I will think of 75 different scenarios that I need to consider as a possibility for this thing to make sure that I don't get blindsided in a way that I experience pain to the levels that I have already. And that's still a thing. Yeah. That's still a thing that I do sometimes for sure. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons why we were doing this, at least for me growing up. I don't know. We're going to list where this all came from?
Yeah, go right ahead. Dive in.
One of the first areas that I've noticed, and I've spent a lot of time in the last year thinking about this ever since John told me what he told me in Peru. And I know I've mentioned this in another episode, and if this is your first time listening, I'll mention it again. I was looking outside this bus window. We're going through some very questionable terrain for these very small tires. And I'm thinking, what if these tires pop? Are the people here, is the driver, is whoever's with us, are they equipped to swap out a tire? And then I was like, I swap tires on my Jeep. I guess I could probably do it. I could figure it out if we needed to. But then I think I said, like, why am I like this? And then so he's what? And I was like, oh, and I tell him, like, I'm thinking about these things and like trying to solve a problem that doesn't even exist. And he's, oh, because you were made to be responsible for more than you should have at a very young age. And I was like, what? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's cue the video montage, right? So now I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's like all these puzzle pieces are coming. The first significant time that I can remember, we had separated from my dad. It was me, my mom, and my brother. We moved to an apartment and it was abrupt. Yes, we knew about it. Yes, we gave mom input and it was for the best for our family. But I was daddy's little girl and I missed my dad.
Yeah.
And so I'm crying and I'm sharing a bed with mom. And my brother had his own room and I'm crying. And so mom feels awful. And now she's crying that she's a bad mom because I'm suffering in this way. And somehow as a child, I understood that to that degree. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let's not cry because I don't want mom to feel that way because she's not a bad mom. Yeah. And so now I'm like controlling outcome. I'm trying to prevent her from feeling certain things. And that has manifested in a lot of different areas of my life, even up and like the over explaining, right? Even recently, like I was dealing with my very specific fictional situation that we talked about a few episodes ago. And I'm putting together this like final thought, if you want to call it. This is what we're going to do. And the first write-up is long. I'm a person of many words. And I'm over explaining, right? And then I had to like catch myself and be like, no, we can't send that because that's just not helpful. I'm trying to word things in a way to prevent someone else from interpreting it a certain way or to feel some kind of pain when really that's not on me.
Yeah.
And then over explaining for where I'm coming from. Like at this point, it's just not helpful. We're just so past that. It doesn't matter. And I had to shrink that down and just only send what was helpful. I can think of another time when through this situation with the divorce, if you come from a Hispanic, Latino background, you probably got beat. Like you got hit with anything that was within arm's reach. That's just the way it was. And I don't care what your parents say, that's just the way it was. And that's how it was. And that's how they did it. And they definitely hit you. I definitely got hit. And so when you're going through a separation, the schools want the kids to see like a therapist or something. Maybe you know where this is going. And
oh, geez.
Yeah. And this was my very first experience talking to any clinician, licensed,
right.
anything like that.
Oh boy.
And so they're asking if I'm afraid of my dad because he'll hit me. And I'm thinking, as a child, if I know I'm getting hit, then yeah, I am afraid of my dad because I'm about to get hit. Was he out here like giving me bruises for absolutely no reason on a random Tuesday morning? No. Like we had done something, or my brother did something and I'm stepping in because I'm trying to protect him, or vice versa, whatever it is. But so I don't know how to answer this question. So I'm like, yes, he hits. And then yes, I'm scared.
Yeah.
And that became this whole issue with CPS. Yeah. And I remember getting yelled at about that. You should have known. Why would you say that? Now look what's going to happen. Now look what you did. And actually that kept my entire family away from therapy for many years. We wouldn't go back to it. We weren't allowed to say out loud what was happening in our family because look what happened. We tried to trust this therapist and they went and did this. And that wasn't even the situation. Yeah. And it was just, so then it's the whole, you should know better. And so I'm like,
how old were you?
Oh my gosh. I must have been like 11 or 12 at the latest.
Yeah.
I'm still pretty young.
Yeah.
And yeah, just all these different scenarios that would come up. And they still like, for like emotional things, I don't deal so much with them anymore. But then I still see it presented in different ways too. I'll catch myself being like, when I start getting like stressed or overwhelmed, I don't really focus on, that's when mistakes happen. So now the words that I use to myself is, okay, Denise, we're super high stress. This is when mistakes happen. So now we have to focus. So pay attention. Make sure you're reading extra careful on your stuff because this is the times when you make the most mistakes. And is that helpful? Kind of. Also not really. That's not. Yeah. And like I had talked about how I sliced my finger open within an hour of coming back from Peru. And that was one of the first things. I was like, Denise, yeah, you're tired. You're not paying attention. You need to focus so you don't like slice your other hand off now. You know what I mean? But it's just the way that the conversation happens in my head comes from a lot of this. You should have known better. I think about relationships, like the romantic ones growing up. I was so afraid to look stupid. And I'm like, no, like I'm going to always be one step ahead of my boyfriend to make sure that he's not out doing something. They all cheated on me. I wasn't very good at that. They've all cheated on me.
And that's the thing, though. You're not actually supposed to be good at that. That's not actually something that you should be putting your energy and effort in. And that's where we get stuck in this weird messed up cycle that's not how you should be living your life. Is trying to put out all the potential fires that may or may not pop up. But just in case they do, I've thought of 5 different ways to handle every one of them.
Right.
Yes.
And
it's exhausting.
Part of that is also why would anybody want to do that? Let me tell you why. Because if you can already deal with it, then it doesn't come so much as a shock. And so you're preventing your...
Right. It doesn't hurt as much.
It doesn't hurt as much.
Or so we tell ourselves, because that's not true either. It still hurts like crazy.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Yes.
But yeah, those are a lot of mine. I don't know. Do you have any?
No, not at all. Keep going. Yeah, the whole trying to be responsible for other people's emotions. And if I can find the right words, and if I just say whatever it is well enough, then this person will understand. Then there won't be misunderstanding. Then there won't be a problem. Oh my gosh, that's, again, not real. It's an unrealistic expectation because, again, I can't be responsible for how they receive it. I could work on it for days and word it as perfectly as I think this is the best I've got.
Yeah.
And there could still be misunderstanding. That could land on some childhood thing of there, and I have no idea. And so I'm exhausting myself trying to put out a potential fire that may or may not happen, and there could be misunderstanding anyway.
Or they may not even be thinking twice about it, not losing a single ounce of sleep, and we're out here like stressed, analyzing all these different things. And
I picture that. Have you seen the meme of the guy? There's like pictures everywhere, lines everywhere.
Yes.
And that's how I feel internally. And like you said, the other person's, cool, great, thanks. Like, what? You don't understand what I've been through. Yeah. No, it's because I did that to myself. That was me, because I chose to take responsibility for something that wasn't mine. Guess how John Ackerman knew that was what was going on with you? Guess how he knew that? Because that was his life too for a big chunk of time. So as you were saying, like you were talking about why things came about and what childhood was like, there actually was a very traumatic thing that happened in my dad's family when he was a kid. And it resulted in the death of his oldest brother. And so there really was it was a tragic thing. His oldest brother was 16 when he died. And so fear, understandably, is now all over his family, all over his parents, all over him, his siblings. And so now, because of this undercurrent of fear, there's this, if we prepare enough, if we look ahead far enough, if we put out all the fires that could possibly, if we just see enough potential bad things that could happen, then we can prevent bad things from happening, which I can't imagine. I can't imagine losing your child. I can't imagine my dad having to deal with the death of his brother. And it's understandable, but it's still not God's best for us. It's still not what he wants us to do. And I can see why they chose all the things that they chose, why there was such, now we stick close, now we try to protect the family. All of it's understandable, but it's still not possible, even though you understand the pain they must have gone through, why they're choosing to try to protect, why they're trying to avoid pain. Yeah, but you still can't do that. It's not possible for any person to prevent things like that, because accidents are going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. And that's not because of anybody's fault.
Those are hard conversations to address or not address. We notice it because we've experienced it too. We've dealt with it in our lives and whatever we've done with that. And so when you see how much that's held back somebody else, you want to, but not everyone's ready for that.
No.
And that's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was just this undercurrent of fear that came through my dad's family into like my mom and dad and my brother and me. And again, I'm not blaming my parents. I'm not angry with them. I get it. Yeah. And my grandparents did the best they could. My parents did the best they could. Like, I'm doing the best I can, but we're all on our own journey, and we all have to deal with whatever the things are that come up that God's like, hey, let's talk about this. But yeah, for it to just be it's like the other, like there's another person sitting at the table. There's another person in the living room with you. Fear just sort of hung out, even though we weren't really conscious of it all the time.
Part of that, hearing other people with their stories and things that they've gone through, helped me be able to get out of my head about things. And I've been through a lot. And not that I was like trying to force people to know about it, but I just really felt alone in that. And so then to hear all these other people out here with all these traumas, right? I'm just like,
yeah, I'm not the only one. Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, all right.
Yeah. And I'm sure I've said this before, but there really is something very comforting about talking to someone else when they say, yeah, I know how you feel. And they actually know. It's not just, I've read a book about something like that, but when you've experienced something similar, or the outcome of two different experiences looks the same way, there is something about, oh, you get this in a way that's same, and we don't even have to talk about it. It's just, yeah, I get it. Yeah. And it's awful to be in that little club together, because it means some pretty terrible things have happened. But there is a level of comfort that comes from that doesn't happen with other people.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah, so aren't you glad you joined us for this episode? Or maybe you are. Maybe this is comforting for you to realize, hey, I'm not the only one that some tough stuff has happened to.
So another thing I used to hear growing up a lot too is, you're so mature for your age. And I think growing up hearing that, I liked it. I was like, oh, that means I'm smarter than a normal person my age should be. And so that's a good thing. And so I'm smart and mature. And then this much later in life to understand the reasons for that.
Yeah.
I don't like it anymore. I'm like, I didn't need to be. I shouldn't have had to be.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, ugh. Yeah. So then I'll think about stuff like that sometimes. And yeah, just all those little things that you go through in life, like it all ends up affecting who you are today and how you operate, how you have conversations, and how you just do life. It's that lens.
Yeah. Just about anything that's happening currently that is painful, or you're angry about, or is causing a fear response in you, I can almost guarantee it that it's not at all about the thing that's happening today. It's landing on something from childhood. And I know people are like, it always goes back to childhood. That's because it always goes back to childhood. Like, those are the moments that shape us. That's when the thought that gets attached to the painful thing gets in, and most of the time the thought that gets attached to the painful thing isn't true. It's not accurate, but we don't know that, and we live like it's true, and then present day things are stomping all over that, and we're like, why is this person in traffic making me so angry? It's not. It's because 5-year-old you is in there going, why don't you see me? And unless that gets revealed to us, we don't know it. And so here we are angry about traffic when 5-year-old us is in there going, can somebody please just help me?
Oh, I'm picturing little Denise in my head now. It's difficult to be present in situations now when we're spending so much time thinking about those things, especially in difficult conversations, things that need resolution. You're just like, worst case scenario, right? Like, just to that whole thing. If you can analyze all of them, you can prevent it. And so you're storing up your different responses or outcomes while they're talking,
instead of just engaged. You're always in preparation mode.
Yeah. That's stressful and exhausting.
Yeah. And if the other person, they might not be fully aware of what's going on, but they can sense a little bit of disconnect from you.
Yeah.
And then that makes the conversation a little awkward and can make them feel like you're not really invested.
Right.
When really you're just your little hamsters just rolling around over there in his little wheel.
Full speed.
Fast as those little legs can go. And the other person's like, what? Why is she not really paying attention to this conversation? Oh, I'm trying, but I've got the hamster, and then what if the hamster falls off the wheel, and then I have to fix it, and then do I need to get another hamster? And I gotta fix the wheel. Like, maybe the wheel broke. Like, it's just and I'm so sorry that thing happened. And I can't keep track of all those things.
Yeah.
And that person has absolutely no idea that all of that is going on.
I know.
At the same time that they're trying to have a conversation.
I think about that too, right? Like, someone is sharing just something that they're going through, and I'm here like, okay, how can I fix that? Am I being a good friend by doing this? What about if I do that? And they just wanted to share. They weren't even asking for anything.
No.
Just wanted you to be there for a second, present. There's nothing for you to start planning and solving all these problems that don't exist yet.
Yeah, but if you've been made to be responsible for things at an early age that you're not supposed to be responsible for, and in my case, I'm trying to prepare for all of the things that could be going wrong, and that person, that's not even what they want.
Yeah.
They don't expect any of that from either of us. They're just like, can we just sit here and drink our hot chocolate and talk? Oh, yeah. Sorry. It's very nuanced because it sounds almost like we're so focused on ourselves because it's not a selfish thing. It's just we've believed for so long that we are responsible for way more things than we're actually able to take responsibility for.
Yeah. That
we don't even realize that we're doing it until we're way into it. And then something catches our attention and we're, oh, wait a second. It's almost, can you rewind about 10 minutes back into your story so I can actually engage now? So sorry.
Or maybe you've heard the one, well, how did you think they were going to respond when you said something like that?
No. Oh, I don't. Oh, that one even just you saying it, it sent like this. Because no, I can't be responsible for that. But yeah, I believed for most of my life that I was responsible for that.
I used to have a friend that I felt like I was walking on eggshells with no matter what. Like, as soon as you could tell that something was wrong in their day, they're just the kind of person that was going to take everything else down with them. They were going to be offended by every little thing that was said after that in that day. And so once I recognized that's the way the day was going, I would, in my head, I'm like picking my words and saying it a certain way to not set them off and trigger them and get them all upset and spiraling. And then we had another friend too in the group, and I would have to be like, don't say things like this. And so I'm out here managing this thing that is nothing of mine. And I strongly recommend that you guys stop doing that if any of you do that. I have since stopped, and I feel a ton better about it. This has all been stuff that I've been slowly picking at and working on for like emotionally and in conversations, relationally. I feel like I've made significant progress. And then just like with anything, there are times that something will come up and there it is again.
Yeah. And it definitely takes time to rewire the thought patterns, because if that's the way it's been for so long and you catch it, great. Awareness is a key first step, but then be kind to yourself as you start to relearn a new way to engage with people, because those old thought patterns, it's like a well-worn groove in your mind, and that's going to take some time. You're going to catch yourself slipping right back into it without noticing, but when you do notice, kind to yourself, change the thought, change how you respond. It will eventually change, but yeah, it's always a process and never as fast as we want it to be.
That's for sure. It is a gift, though, that we recognize it now, because I certainly didn't recognize any of that for a very long time. So I do appreciate now when Holy Spirit's like, hey, you're doing it again. And I'm like, doing what? For real?
More layers to that onion.
But there's this perspective of us trying to play God in small ways. And I have never thought about it in that way.
Say more.
Reading that for the first time, it just stuck out to me, because if you had worded that to me, do you think you're trying to play God in small ways? I would have been like, no, I'm not God. I'm just trying to control my little situation here, which is another thing. This all comes down to, part of it is control. And for a good chunk of my life, I would have argued that, no, I don't need to be in control. Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting. It's interesting to see how connected all of that is. And also, I guess, what my viewpoint or what I thought control was.
Yes. Yeah, because same, if anybody would have asked me if I thought that I was trying to be in control of a bunch of things, I would have said, no, of course not. But I didn't know that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Being controlling in my mind was one picture, but what I was doing was just necessary. It's just how this is how I operate, because this is what I've learned and this is what I do, and this is how things work better. Oh, you mean being controlling? No. No. That's what that is.
Because it has a negative connotation to it. So you're like, no, I'm not trying to control. Right. You can do whatever you want with your life. Right? I'm just trying to control your outcome and your reaction right here. Those are two very different things. No, they're not, you guys. No, they're not. Let me confirm that for you right now. Notice how I use control in both of those scenarios.
And on the undercurrent of fear that was in my family, I'm realizing, too, that if something went wrong, then it means I messed up somewhere, I failed somehow. I wouldn't have articulated it that way, but that got in there somewhere. And it wasn't, honestly, until just a few years ago that those puzzle pieces, like those things finally connected. And I was able to realize, oh, this isn't just prepare for things. Then there's also this level of shame, and I've failed. And thanks once again to the amazing Polly Hamp. And I've probably said this phrase before.
Hi, Polly.
Hi, Polly. I'm so thankful that she has said this, and she said it multiple times, not just to me, but I've heard her in other contexts say it, but it's just so lovely. The first time she said it, I was like, I felt actual weight fall off of me, because she said, there's no such thing as failure. There's just feedback.
I like that.
Yeah, and to somebody who has tried to prepare to do all the things, and you can't, if you did it wrong, then that means you're a failure. It just unlocked so much, because it's really, you did X, Y, Z, and this is the outcome. And so it's information. And so I just got new information to then know how to do something differently the next time. It has absolutely nothing to do with if I did something correctly or incorrectly. It has nothing to do with failure. And somehow, and again, that was not said to me as a child, but somehow those things got in there, and I don't know when exactly or how, but to then live with that, thinking that's normal, did that for decades. So exhausting. Again, so exhausting. So while we do have lots more examples, I don't know if we really need to share anymore.
Oh, no?
We can, but I think we've given everybody, and including ourselves, enough to, oh yeah, I know what they're talking about. I know what you mean. And so I thought maybe we could shift just a little into how have we handled these things? How have we made changes? And one of the things that I've had to tell myself in the whole, there's no failure, there's just feedback, is that preparing for something to a certain extent is not terrible. That's not a bad decision. That's not wrong. It's just, am I taking preparation so far that's where that my trust is in, have I prepared enough? That my faith is in my own preparations. Because I'm not going to go on a trip and not prepare for leaving my home or packing. That's wisdom. Of course, you make preparations. But again, it's to a certain extent, because preparing for a trip or a situation or whatever is not the same thing as preparing enough that I can predict the outcome or control of what's going to happen. And so I just wanted to make sure that we weren't accidentally communicating something that we didn't intend. Yes, preparation, but I can't take it so far to think that if I prepare enough, then everything goes exactly the way I want it to, because that's not possible, and that's not kind to set myself up for something like that. So that's been something that I've had to sort of, it's almost, we talked about that one time, seesaw or teeter-totter.
Yeah.
Keep a balance of, yes, prepare, but then also realize things are going to happen that are not actually in my ability to control anyway. So I got to readjust there a little bit.
And we've said before how good things can get distorted. We can take it too far. So just being mindful of that. As you were talking, I was thinking about something that I had heard too, and maybe a lot of you have, about you have control of your life. So whatever your life looks like is because you've allowed it. So if you do all this preparation and you can, if you have drama in your life and you don't want, that's because you allowed it. So you can do whatever you need to make sure that doesn't happen. And in that, I was reminded of, because I did believe that was true. So I'm like, all right, let's shift some things around. And so then here now we have this relationship with God, which my understanding of today is very different than back then.
Yeah.
And certainly wasn't a relational way. And so this idea of surrender then also comes into play. Surrender what? Surrender what was something I didn't have an answer to for a long time. And that encompasses many things. So with what we're talking about here, the outcomes, the reaction, it's being okay with, I'm going to send what I send, and however they respond, even if they took it away that I didn't intend or hoped for that they wouldn't, is not on me, but surrendering that to God and how they're going to respond, and then what comes from that and what my role is and this and that. Walking through all of that over time, understanding what surrender is, understanding that relationship with God, how that plays together, that was, I think, the catalyst in understanding, or making the shift rather, to something more healthy.
Yeah, a friend of mine.
More true.
Yeah. A friend of mine who also had a deep sense of fear in her family for all kinds of other reasons. She said that she would say things like, we need to be vigilant. I just need to be vigilant about, and it's like and it took a little bit for God to then reveal to her that no, that's not, you're not trusting me. That's just preparation to the nth degree of, I got to be vigilant. And it sounded better than control. It sounded better than, but really when you get down to it, no, it's just the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just preparing so far that our trust is then in our own preparation.
Because then when it doesn't work out, we take it very personally.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the disconnect, y'all. That's the disconnect. That's where we have misunderstood something for sure. What's another word for vigilant? Anxiety.
I would agree.
Synonymous.
But see, doesn't vigilant sound like I'm being wise about it? I'm preparing. Like, it sounds better than I'm just.
Yeah.
It's not, though. It's the same thing. We just put some salt on it. We just put a little happy sticker on it. It's still not good for us. It's still setting ourselves up for impossible expectations. And plus, it's all me focused, which there's a problem right there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Balance is key. Balance is key, you guys. That's the best way I can put for that. Because we are not telling you to not prepare. Preparation. Because I can speak English. It is wise.
It is. But we also have to remember that we can only do so much. And we're only supposed to do so much. We're not actually supposed to be responsible for everyone and everything. Because that's not real.
Yeah. I feel like I've gotten better with that as it relates to mom's health. The many times that we've gone to doctors and when she's had long stays in the ICU, I'm like on top of things and I'm writing down like her oxygen levels, her vitals, and trying to remember what this doctor said and that doctor said. And then even now with all these different appointments that we have, I have found like 2 different appointments or one area of medicine where I've just not paid as much attention to. Mm. And sometimes I'll get looks like, you don't know that, you need to know that about your mom. And then I don't get upset or on myself about it anymore. It is more of a conversation with God, like, yeah, I don't have that information, God, so I'm gonna need you to help us out here. What do I need to know about this? What do I need to recall from conversations and help me out? But it's a team effort conversation.
Yeah.
Versus before, where all those things come into play that we've talked about. The anxiety. So much of it.
Speaking of anxiety.
Speaking of, you guys, we wanted to read you guys this quote that really stood out to both of us that we heard recently. And it's both optimism and anxiety require us to imagine something that hasn't happened yet. If we have the ability to worry about the future, it also means we have the ability to imagine a better one. And for those wondering, the person who said this is named Jess Ekstrom. Probably said that wrong, but anyway, it's very true. We're pouring all this energy into fixing these things and keeping these outcomes from happening, or we can invest that in far better things.
Yeah, just a really simple, I know it might not feel simple in the moment, but it's just a shift in our minds, in our thought process. But what if all these bad things that I'm imagining, what if that's not how it goes?
Yeah.
What if, instead of focusing on all the bad possibilities, what if I throw in a couple of good possibilities in there too? Why aren't we thinking there's 19 ways that this could go really well? That sounds like a much better way to spend my time, is thinking about this good thing could happen and this really fun thing could work out, and rather than all the doom and gloom. But yeah, that takes conscious shifting thought for me to go in the positive route rather than all the ways that things can go wrong.
I'm telling you why we don't think that way.
Oh, okay. Teach us, Dr. Acosta.
I'm just going to share some truth about why. Because when it's positive, it's easy to slide into that emotion. We have good news. It's easy to go into that and embrace it and be in it and experience it. When the bad thing happens, it feels like a lot of things are shattering in different directions, and now it's just all chaos. And that's far less easy to manage than just this basket of wonderful blessings that just came your way, because you're like, yay, blessings.
Yeah, but
I feel like that's why we do it.
If there is a not so great outcome, then I've just experienced it more than once, because I've spent all this time creating it, and then a negative thing occurs. And what's bad about that is then that just reinforces it. See, I knew that was going to happen. Yeah, because I really do think that we do have the ability, to some extent, don't think I've gone off the deep end here, that what we think about and what we focus on, like we snuggle up next to it. Why am I doing that? Why am I not thinking about the good things? Yeah. And I'm not saying that if I just think about it, then a good thing happens. That's what I'm saying. Let's not go that far. But I'm just realizing in the last few years that I would much rather spend my energy and time thinking about the more positive possibilities.
And then there's also, the more we think about something, the more that we see it and can recognize it in our life. So if we are so stuck on these things that we're trying to avoid, pain that we're trying to prevent, then that's all the stuff that we're going to focus on that is happening. And that's the stuff that we're going to recognize. And if we are taking that same energy to focus on what could happen in a good way, then we'll see more specifically how God has shown up to be there for us all along every step of the way. I really like the way Caitlin had worded it on the devotional that one morning. Caitlin is someone who went with us on the Peru trip, and she was talking about, I don't know if it was a quote or it's just her thought that she had, but it was, we think about the light at the end of the tunnel, but really there's been lights all along the way to get us as we start approaching that. And I think that's really true. And if we do spend time, like that quote is referencing, to imagine all the good things, and we'll see all the many ways that God has shown up for us in that process.
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching. What's up, girl? Call her cha-ching. She knows why. So one of the things that I've mentioned before that I do when I'm like getting ready to have a panic attack about something, stressing, overwhelmed, whatever, one of the things that I say to ground myself is what's true, and I'll look for things. Another thing that I ask myself with situations like this is, what am I afraid of? Maybe I don't know what it is right away, but I recognize that I am responding or reacting in something that I shouldn't. So what is it that's happening here? Slow down. What am I afraid of?
That's a really good one.
That has helped.
Yeah.
For sure.
There are times when I'll start my conversation in the morning with God, and I'll be like, what do you want to talk about, God? And every once in a while, it's not real often, which is good, but every once in a while he'll say something like, there's nothing to fear. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Oh, no, wait a minute. You're saying that to me because there is something that I'm afraid of, or there's fear about something. It's one of those things I don't even realize it's happening until I'm well into it at that point for him to be pointing it out, and I'm not even conscious of it. But yeah, it's like a virus on your computer. It just runs in the background. And we've gotten so accustomed to fear being present that we don't even notice it.
Yeah.
Which just blows my mind.
Or it's the not even addressing it because, oh my gosh, you're overthinking. That's just part of it. Everyone deals with that. And that's, but we don't have to.
We don't have to.
That wasn't part of the plan.
Yes.
That was never part of the original design for us. Just because we're gotten used to it doesn't mean it needs to stay. Yeah.
Doesn't mean it was ever really supposed to be there in the first place. Just
yeah.
God has not given me a spirit of fear. God, okay.
I do not know that song, but I like it.
God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. There's emotions, but of power and of love and a sound mind.
That's cute. I love it. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can sing it for us as we close out. Just like the camera cuts only to you and you like do the whole thing. And I don't know who else needs to hear this because I have to tell myself this sometimes, is the whole like giving yourself permission to be human. I'm sure there's a lot of us out there that have been told they expected more from us, or all these expectations that we're trying to meet and that we shouldn't be failing in certain areas, or all these shortcomings. But the reality is that we are imperfect beings. Yeah. And that happens sometimes. Sometimes we don't make the mark, or it's just even not that serious. And so let's remove that pressure from us. God's not putting that pressure on us.
I think it's also helpful to remember, too, that there are going to be times where we do feel fearful about stuff, and we are going to be anxious about things. And there are going to be moments where we're sad or angry or disappointed,
sometimes all at the same time.
Absolutely. And you're not doing something wrong because you're feeling an emotion.
Yes.
God gave us emotions. Mm-hmm. God has emotions. We are reflections of him. It's just, what are we doing with the emotions? Right. And so cut yourself some slack when fear pops up, when you are feeling anxious. But it's, what are we doing with it? Then that's the part that can go sideways. And so if we learn different ways of how to handle our emotions, and I don't mean handle them like get them under control, like I'm holding this very soft thing. How do I handle it? How do I care for it well? Almost like raw egg. You're not going to just toss it around. You're going to take care of it. And so whenever those emotions come up, how do I care well for me with this emotion? Which is not least that's not how I was taught to handle emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a relearning for me as well.
I think also I know we already said it, like going to God with it, right? But the simple showing up and being like I will go to God and be like, hey, I have 5 emotions right now, and I don't know which one is stronger than the other, and we're just kind of a mess right now. And he's like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, okay, we know. Okay. And we're good. All right. Okay. All right. And we'll just figure that out together.
Yeah.
But it's not, I can't pray to God yet because I haven't figured this emotion out.
Yes.
Or I don't know where this is coming from. So I can't pray about it to God yet until I figure that out. No.
Yeah.
No. Bring the mess.
Yes.
Bring the mess.
Yeah. And when I catch myself saying to myself, I should have known whatever, fill in the blank. When I catch that thought, then I say to myself, no, you weren't actually supposed to already know this because you've never been here before. I'm new to this situation, this person, this thought, this feeling. I have to let myself off the hook because I'm not supposed to be able to handle everything as soon as it comes up.
Yeah.
Especially if it's an unknown thing. How was I supposed to know?
Yeah.
So that's been a helpful thing for me too. It's just to talk back to me of, no, you weren't supposed to know that because you're new. This is new. It's no failure. It's just feedback. This is new information. Now, what do I do with this new information? That's so much kinder than, what the heck? Why couldn't you figure this out ahead of time? How was I supposed to figure it out ahead of time? I wasn't there.
There's only room for one of us to be omniscient, and it's not me.
Yeah, thank goodness it's God, right? Not us. Holy moly. So we did warn you at the beginning that this may have just been for us, but I think we say that about just almost every episode. This is really just for us.
It is.
So this was good for us. Hopefully something was beneficial for you as well. I don't really know. But let's just keep in mind we aren't supposed to be able to predict the future. So let ourselves off the hook on that one. We can't actually prepare for everything. We can allow ourselves to think optimistically rather than doom and gloom all the time. When we catch an old thought pattern, be kind to ourselves. We can change it and eventually they'll start to shift. There's all kinds of small ways to start making changes in this.
You guys, we are only responsible for our faithfulness, not foresight. Only faithfulness.
To the one who's omniscient, which is not us.
So peas release what you can't control.
Wow.
No one can see the whole pod. I'm going to keep going.
I don't think anybody can stop you even if they wanted to.
You're not the pea prophet.
Oh, boy.
I know. These are so good.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay.
Prepare your peas. Let the rest be. I'll end on that one.
Wow. Okay. Wow. What a great note to end on. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Prodigal Peas in a Pod.
For more content, peas, be sure to like, follow, and share.
And you can email us at prodigalpeas@gmail.com.
For more information on Misfit of Creation, you can like and follow me on just about all social medias, to include TikTok. I also have a Facebook community group that you can join. I have an Etsy shop that has a lot of downloadable tools to help strengthen your walk with Christ. There is a Patreon account if you are looking to be a monthly supporter. And I also do an online prayer call once a month. So be sure to follow that to be updated on when the next date is.
You can find more information on my mental and emotional health coaching practice at blueprintheartandmind.com, where you can also access my blog and schedule a session with me. And you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So Denise, what's next?
Hey DJ, spin that track.
I get it now, I need to be myself because a copycat can only do so well. Love with everything that that makes me who I am. Don't need a backup plan. I hope they understand that I'm doing better today. I got me a mission, I got some fruition. You down to stay out the way. Can't seek validation from people who hating. I got my mentality straight. Shout out to God, I've been keeping the first. He's been working and paving the way. And now I can guarantee you that's the way to live. Way to live. Promise that's the way to live. Way to live. Promise that's the way to live.
When does this onion end?
There's gotta be fewer and fewer layers, right?
Move on to the next onion. I'm tired of this one.
Yeah.